For 10 years, the billionaire CEO of Carter and Company didn't touch a single woman. No handshakes. No accidental brushes. Nothing. People called him cold, broken, even cursed. But everything changed the day Emily Walker walked in, with a bundle of ties and no idea she was about to rewrite his story. The first thing Emily noticed about Carter and Company wasn't the skyline view or the polished marble floors. It was the silence. Not the kind that came from focus, but the kind that came from fear. People whispered like students tiptoeing past the principal's office. No one met her eyes for more than a second. And every time someone walked by her desk, they glanced, then looked away like she was a walking countdown. At first, she thought she had something on her face. Or maybe everyone was just weirdly intense. "Walker," a voice snapped. "You're needed in Mr. Carter's office. Tie emergency." Emily blinked. "Sorry?" "His meeting starts in 10. He needs a tie. Go now." "A tie emergency?" What was that, some kind of Wall Street dress code crisis? Still, she nodded, grabbed her badge and followed the directions toward the executive wing. The dressing room was pristine. Rows of neatly pressed suits. Shelves of polished shoes. And about 50 ties. Seriously? She stared at the wall like it had just given her a pop quiz. "Okay," she murmured. "Navy? Black? Gray? What does a no-nonsense CEO wear when closing million-dollar deals?" She tried to decide, failed spectacularly, then grabbed 5 different ones and bolted down the hall. Just in case. She paused outside the double doors of Adam Carter's office. Took a breath. Then knocked once. "Come in," came a voice, low, even, and terrifyingly calm. She stepped in. And there he was. Adam Carter. The man from the headlines. The CEO who took his father's floundering firm and turned it into one of the top finance houses on the East Coast. And, apparently, the man who had never smiled a day in his life. He stood by the window, adjusting the cuff of his shirt like someone who'd done this 1,000 times with the weight of the world on his shoulders. His posture was sharp. His jaw sharper. He turned. And frowned. "What is that?" he asked. "Ties," Emily replied, arms full-winded. "I didn't know which one you wanted, so, options." There was a pause. Then a sigh, low, controlled, but unmistakably weary. "Just one," he said. She dropped the rest onto his desk and, without looking, handed him one. Only when it was already in his hand did she realize it had tiny flamingo prints on it. "Oh no. Sorry, not that." She snatched it back, exchanged it for a dark navy one, and offered it again with a sheepish smile. "This one's safe." Adam took it without a word. She turned to go, and then paused. He was tying it wrong. Like disastrously wrong. It was crooked. The knot uneven. The length, tragic. Emily's inner perfectionist screamed. Without thinking, she stepped forward. "Wait," she said, voice instinctive. "You're doing it wrong. Let me." And that's when it happened. Her fingers brushed his neck. Just a soft, unintentional graze of skin. But Adam froze. Like she just slapped him. Emily jerked back. His eyes locked on her. His entire body had tensed, every muscle taut like a drawn wire. "What did you just do?" he asked, voice tight. Fixed your tie," she said, confused. "You touched me." The words came out like an accusation. Emily took a cautious step back, brows furrowed. "Yeah, lightly. Not like electrocuted you kind of touch." Adam stepped away. He rubbed his neck as if her fingers had left a burn. She didn't know what to do. Say sorry? Say, "You're welcome"? Before she could choose, Adam said, "Don't ever do that again." She stared at him. "Seriously?" "Yes. You're acting like I assaulted you. I don't like being touched." His tone was calm. Too calm. But his eyes, they looked like a storm behind glass. Emily folded her arms. "You know, a heads up would have been nice. I didn't exactly get the 'don't touch the CEO' memo on day one." There was a pause. Adam looked down. Then back at her. "You wouldn't understand. Try me." Silence. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a credit card. Eventually he just said, "Just, don't do it again." Emily exhaled, raised her hands in surrender. "Fine. No touching. Your personal bubble is safe. She turned to go. But before she reached the door, she muttered under her breath, "Weirder things have happened." She didn't mean for him to hear. But he did. And after the door closed, Adam Carter stood in his office, hands still pressed to the spot where she'd touched him. And for the first time in a long, long time, he didn't know what the hell he was feeling. Adam Carter sat behind his desk, staring blankly at a spreadsheet that had once made perfect sense. Today the numbers looked like static on a broken screen. He scrolled again. Nothing registered. He leaned back, tried to breathe deep. But it was still there. That moment. That touch. Like a scene on loop, it kept replaying in his mind with perfect clarity, her fingers, soft and brief, brushing the skin just below his jawline. It should have made him recoil. He should have flinched. But he hadn't. That's what scared him. He wasn't used to this kind of noise inside his head. For a man built on structure and routine, this sudden mental chaos was unsettling. He tapped his pen against the desk. Once, twice, 3 times, then stopped himself. Get it together. He stood up, walked toward the massive glass window that looked over the city. Below him, the streets buzzed with normalcy. Cars. People. Rhythm. He had none of it. All he had was that lingering feeling, like her touch hadn't left his skin at all. Adam Carter, untouchable CEO, rattled by a tie and a rookie assistant. How ridiculous. He closed his eyes. But behind his lids, there she was again. Emily Walker. Her voice. Her expression when he snapped. The way she hadn't apologized out of fear, but because she genuinely meant it. He hated that. And he hated even more that he didn't hate it. He turned from the window and checked the time. It had only been an hour since she left his office. Felt like a week. He walked back to his desk and sat down. Checked his emails. Replied to none. He tried to open a contract draft, forced himself to read the first paragraph twice, then closed it. He needed clarity. Control. Distance. So why did it feel like he was already losing ground? His phone buzzed. A message from his secretary. Walker just turned in the Q3 report draft. She'll send a printed copy soon. Adam replied, have her bring it to me directly. He stared at the message after sending it. What was he trying to prove? She'd already touched him. That should have been the end of it. But something in him wanted to test it. Was it really a fluke? Or was she different? Exactly 12 minutes later, there was a soft knock on the door. He straightened his back, composed his face. Come in. Emily stepped in, holding the report folder. Her expression was calm, maybe even slightly amused. Q3 in all its chaotic glory, she said, handing it over. He reached for it. Their fingers brushed again. Just barely. Adam felt it. The same jolt. Quick, subtle. Not visible from the outside. But his body knew. So did his heart. It skipped. Damn it. A page slipped from the folder and landed near his chair. Without thinking, Emily bent down to grab it. At the same time, Adam did too. Their foreheads bumped. Not hard, but enough to make both of them freeze. Their faces were suddenly inches apart. Emily looked up. Adam's breath hitched. She raised an eyebrow. If that was a reflex test, you passed. He blinked. I wasn't testing anything. Right. Because bumping heads is a very advanced business technique. He ignored the sarcasm, stood up quickly, papers in hand. Emily stayed where she was for a beat longer, watching him. Then casually, are you always this jumpy? I'm not jumpy. Sure. You only reacted like I tried to stab you earlier. He said nothing. But his silence was louder than any response. She stepped back, giving him space. I get it. You have your rules. No touching. No emotion. No fun. I'm not here for fun. No kidding. He looked at her. Really looked. Emily Walker. Not afraid. Not timid. And somehow that made her more dangerous than anyone he'd met in years. She was unpredictable. And Adam hated unpredictability. But more than that, he hated how curious he felt. About her. Why her touch didn't send him spiraling. Why her presence didn't suffocate him like it did with everyone else. She'd walked into his office like she belonged there. Not because of arrogance. because she didn't know any better. And that, somehow, was worse. Because now she was in his head. In his space. In his rules. And nothing was working the way it used to. Adam took a long breath. I expect the next draft by Thursday. Already working on it. And no more mistakes. Emily raised her hand in a mock salute. Yes, sir. Absolutely no more accidental tie crimes. He almost smiled. But didn't. Dismissed. She turned to leave. And he watched her go. Then before she reached the door she paused. Looked over her shoulder. You know, for someone who says he doesn't get flustered, you sure look like you're unraveling. He didn't respond. Because she wasn't wrong. When the door closed behind her, Adam Carter sat in silence. And for the first time in years, silence wasn't comfortable. It was deafening. Emily was halfway through her third cup of coffee when she noticed it. Adam Carter was watching her. Not staring. Not glaring. Just observing. Calm. Focused. Still. Like he was trying to figure something out and she just happened to be the equation. She pretended not to see it the first time. But the second time? She raised her brows as if to say, seriously? He looked away like nothing happened. She smirked. Weird. But not unpleasant. Over the next few days it kept happening. She'd catch him glancing at her from across the hallway. In meetings, she'd feel his gaze settle on her for a beat longer than necessary. Not in a creepy way. Just different. And then there was the mumbling. Emily talked to herself. A lot. It was a habit she picked up in college and never fully kicked. When numbers didn't make sense, she whispered them aloud. When slides misaligned in PowerPoint, she mumbled insults under her breath. One afternoon, as she worked through a messed-up data chart, she muttered, "Who designed this chaos? I swear this spreadsheet is actively trying to ruin my career." From across the room, Adam replied without looking up. "That was Jerry. He's since been fired." Emily blinked. "Wait, have you been listening to me talk to myself?" "I wasn't trying to," he said. "But you were." He paused. Then, "You're louder than you think." She burst out laughing. And something in Adam shifted again. It wasn't visible. But it was real. Like something inside him had exhaled for the first time in a decade. Later that day she passed his office and saw him looking down at his desk, half smiling. She'd never seen that expression on him before. Like someone remembering a joke they hadn't decided whether to laugh at yet. And slowly the rest of the office noticed too. They didn't say anything. But they saw it. The way Adam didn't bark orders as sharply. The way he paused before responding to Emily. The way he actually looked at her when she spoke. Not just looked. Listened. He even chuckled once. Oh, brief. But enough to make Max, passing by, whisper to HR, "Did Adam Carter just smile?" Emily, of course, didn't pretend not to notice. But she didn't push it either. Instead, she let things breathe. They fell into a rhythm. A quiet understanding. He'd pass her desk and she'd nod. He'd nod back. She'd slide a report into his hand, and their fingers would graze. He'd go still for half a second, then carry on. She never called attention to it. He never apologized for it. Something was happening. They both felt it. But neither said it aloud. Until one morning. It was early. Too early. Only a few employees were in yet. Emily walked into the break room and nearly ran into Adam. He was making coffee. Real coffee. Not the stuff from the Keurig in his office. He looked up, startled. She blinked. "Wow. You brew coffee like a normal human?" He didn't respond right away. Then, just this once. She stepped closer. "You know this break room is employee territory, right?" "I'm aware." "You slumming it with the rest of us?" "I heard rumors the coffee was stronger in here." She tilted her head, grinning. "You've been listening to a lot of rumors lately." Adam didn't deny it. He just handed her a mug. "Try it. You'll judge it anyway." She took the mug and took a sip. Raised an eyebrow. "Okay, not bad. Thank you." There was a pause. A quiet one. But it wasn't awkward. It was easy. Like two people standing in the same pause for different reasons. Emily glanced at him. "You've changed." Adam turned his head. "Have I?" "Yeah." You've said more full sentences to me this week than in all of last week. He didn't argue. She sipped again. You even almost smiled. He looked away toward the window. Don't get used to it. I won't, she said. But she already had. And when he handed her a file later that afternoon, their hands touched again. Longer this time. Still no panic. Still no pulling away. Instead, he looked at her. And for a split second he almost looked like he was about to say something real. But didn't. And she didn't press. Because maybe some things don't need to be defined just yet. Sometimes they're just cracks. Hairline fractures in the wall. But the light? It always finds a way through. It started like any normal Thursday. Emily was replying to emails, sipping weak office coffee, and trying to make sense of a client's financial report. Then the message arrived. From Adam Carter. Subject, tonight. There's a charity gala. I need a date. You're coming. No hello. No context. Just a summons. She blinked. Out loud, what? Max peeked over his cubicle wall. Did he just ask you out in Times New Roman? Emily turned to him, holding up her screen. Apparently yes. Max let out a low whistle. I guess this office is full of miracles. At 6:52 p.m., a sleek black car pulled up in front of her building. Emily stepped out in a black dress that hugged her shoulders just right. Not flashy, just elegant. Her hair, usually in a messy bun, now cascaded in soft waves. She didn't try to be impressive. But she was. Adam stood outside the car, looking like he'd been carved from a GQ cover. He didn't say anything at first. Just looked at her. Then, is that acceptable attire for a charity event? She narrowed her eyes. Is that your way of saying I look great? He paused. Let's go. Typical. The gala was held at the Orlando, a glass-roofed event space downtown, all gold lighting and soft jazz. Inside, the air smelled like perfume and old money. Emily stuck close to Adam as they entered, heels clicking against marble. Whispers followed them. He never brought dates. Everyone noticed. He offered her his arm. She hesitated, then slid hers through. He didn't flinch. That alone made the whole night worth it. You okay? She asked quietly. Why wouldn't I be? She looked around. The suits, the stairs, the forced smiles. I'm used to it. Yeah, but with me here, people are wondering. I don't care. And for once she believed him. But then came her. Amelia. She stepped into view like a perfectly timed movie villain. Red dress, blonde hair, and an ice-cold smile. Emily didn't need a name tag to guess who she was. The way Adam's body tensed gave it away instantly. Adam, Amelia purred, drifting toward them. It's been a while. He nodded. Amelia. Her eyes drifted to Emily. And who's this? Emily smiled. Held out her hand. Emily Walker. Personal assistant. Emergency tie fixer. Unexpected gala date. Amelia's smile tightened. Impressive. Emily just kept smiling. I try. Adam said nothing. Emily could feel his discomfort radiating. So she leaned in slightly. Relax, she whispered. I don't bite. Unless someone else does first. Adam nearly choked on his drink. Amelia blinked. Well, she said coolly, I should mingle. You do that, Emily replied cheerfully. As Amelia drifted away, Adam turned to Emily. You didn't have to. I know. But you did. Yup. He studied her for a second. What was that? Me. Protecting my CEO from icy exes with sharp cheekbones. Adam huffed a small breath. Almost a laugh. I didn't expect you to handle that so calmly. Emily tilted her head. Did you think I'd run? No. Did you want me to? He didn't answer. She didn't push. Instead, she walked with him toward the balcony, where the noise of champagne flutes and polite networking faded behind them. The city lights stretched out below. Adam leaned on the railing, silent. Emily joined him. After a moment, you okay? I hate these events. Because of the social pressure or the part where you bump into your past? Both. Well, you didn't run. No, he said looking at her. I didn't. And for the first time that night, maybe in years, Adam Carter wasn't trying to leave the moment. He was staying in it, with her. The rooftop was quiet. Far below, the city kept moving, cars, lights, noise. But up here it felt like they were in a separate world. Emily leaned on the railing, arms crossed, gaze on the skyline. Adam stood beside her, hands in his pockets, not saying much. They didn't need to. For a while, the silence between them wasn't awkward. It was calm. Safe. Then she said, "You did well tonight." He glanced at her. "I didn't punch anyone if that's what you mean." She smiled. "You didn't flinch when I took your arm. I'm evolving. Slowly. That's how evolution works." She laughed. Adam didn't. But the corners of his mouth moved. Progress. A breeze passed through, light but cold. Emily shivered slightly. Without a word, Adam took off his suit jacket and draped it over her shoulders. She looked up at him. "Thanks?" He nodded, but didn't move away. She noticed. So did he. It hit them both at the same time. That shift. That pull. Like gravity between two objects that had been circling each other too long. He looked at her. She didn't look away. His eyes dropped to her lips. Hers stayed locked on his. And then he kissed her. No warning. No hesitation. Just pure instinct. For a second she froze. Then kissed him back. Her hands found the lapels of his shirt. His hands were at her waist. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. But it was real. And honest. And alive. Then Adam pulled away. Suddenly. Too fast. Emily opened her eyes, breath caught. "What?" "That was a mistake," he said. Just like that. The air shifted. She blinked. "Excuse me? I shouldn't have done that." Her jaw tightened. She stepped back, letting the jacket slip off her shoulders. "Wow. That's how you want to play this?" "Emily." "No, it's fine." She shook her head, trying to steady her breath. "I forgot. Adam Carter doesn't do messy." He stayed silent. "Of course he did." She turned. Started walking. He didn't follow. Didn't call after her. Just stood there, exactly like he always did when something real got too close. Alone. When the rooftop door shut behind her, it sounded final. Like something closed that wouldn't open again. And Adam? He stared at the spot she'd just been. Jacket in his hands. Heartbeat uneven. Breath shallow. This wasn't supposed to happen. And yet it had. And he had no idea what to do next. Emily didn't storm out the next day. She didn't cry. She didn't raise her voice or throw papers across the office like someone in a soap opera. Instead, she did something far worse. She acted like nothing happened. No tension. No awkward glances. No sarcastic quips. Just quiet, professional distance. Polite emails. One-line responses. Reports dropped off on his desk without a word. And Adam Carter noticed. He noticed everything. The way her smile didn't reach him anymore. The way her laugh echoed from somewhere else, never from the space between them. The way she started wearing headphones at her desk, not for music, just to block him out. He noticed it all. And it drove him insane. He kept waiting for her to confront him. To yell. To demand an explanation. But she never did. She just withdrew. Plain. Graceful. Devastating. And somehow that hurt more than anger ever could. Because it meant she was protecting herself. From him. She stopped lingering after meetings. Stopped talking to herself out loud. Stopped accidentally brushing against him. The silence between them, once comfortable, now felt clinical. He hated it. He hated how much he missed her voice in the hallway. The sound of her typing too fast. The way she'd mutter under her breath when Excel betrayed her. And more than anything, he hated how empty the office felt now, even when it was full of people. On Friday afternoon, Adam passed by the break room. And froze. Emily was inside. Laughing. With Max. She had her hand over her mouth, laughing at something Max had said. Her eyes lit up in a way Adam hadn't seen all week. Max leaned in, joking about something. Emily playfully shoved his shoulder. It was nothing. Innocent. But Adam felt his chest tighten. It wasn't the conversation. It wasn't even Max. It was her. The way she looked alive. relaxed, like someone who had moved on. He turned around, walked back to his office without a word. But that night he couldn't work. He couldn't focus. He kept hearing her laugh in his head like a memory stuck on loop. At 1:12 a.m. he was still awake, staring at the ceiling, wishing he had said something, anything, on that rooftop. But he hadn't. And now, she was slipping away. It started with silence, then the hallway, then footsteps, hers steady, unhurried. Adam was standing outside the building, suit jacket draped over his arm, waiting for a car that hadn't arrived yet. He wasn't expecting to see her. But there she was. Emily, hair down, wearing that soft, steady look that made her unreadable. She paused when she saw him. Didn't smile. Didn't walk away either. Late night? She asked. He nodded. You too. Had some reports to finish. Of course. The silence came back. Not heavy, but uncertain. Then she crossed her arms and looked at him like she had been holding it in for too long. Why did you kiss me, Adam? He blinked. It was the last thing he expected her to say. She took a step closer. I'm not asking because I'm confused. Another step. I'm asking because if you're going to make a move like that, then pretend it never happened. You better have a damn good reason. Adam looked at her. And for once he didn't try to shut down the feeling. Didn't dodge. Didn't run. He stepped closer. I kissed you because I wanted to. Then why push me away? Because I'm not good at this. I never asked you to be good at it. That stopped him. She took one more step. There's something between us. You feel it? I know you do. Silence. But I'm done trying to guess where you stand. She turned to leave. Adam caught her wrist. Not hard. Just enough. Her eyes met his. And that's when he pulled her in. This time, he kissed her like it wasn't a mistake. Like he meant every second. No guilt. No hesitation. Just him and her. Breath and lips and fingers finding something that felt like home. She kissed him back, gripping his jacket, pulling him closer like she was afraid he'd disappear again. He didn't. He deepened the kiss. Slower now. More sure. His hand found the side of her face, thumb brushing her cheek. She pressed her forehead to his. You're not running, she whispered. I don't want to, he said. It was the truth. For once it felt right. Then came the quiet. The soft stillness after the storm. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. She looked up. A question in her eyes. Then, slowly, she leaned in again, this time letting her hands move to his shirt buttons. Her fingers worked gently, deliberately. But the moment she touched the second button, he froze. His breath caught. The panic returned. Fast. Uncontrollable. He stepped back. Not out of anger. Not rejection. But fear. Real sharp fear. Emily paused. Lowered her hands. Her voice soft. Still too much. Adam didn't answer right away. Then quietly, I don't know how to do this. You don't have to know. I'm afraid I'll ruin it. She gave him a look, gentle but unshakable. Then ruin it with me. He looked at her like she was offering him something he didn't think he deserved. Because she was. But he wasn't ready. Not yet. And she saw it. So she stepped back. Not angry. Not hurt. Just patient. Let me know when you're ready, she said. Then walked away. And Adam stood there. Heart pounding. Not because he kissed her. But because, for the first time, he didn't want to stop. He just didn't know how to move forward. It happened on a Wednesday. No rain. No dramatic sky. Just gray clouds and the weight of things unsaid. Adam saw her in the hallway, standing near the window, staring out like the city might offer answers. He walked up slowly, carefully. About the other night. Emily didn't turn. Don't. You kissed me. Again. Pause. You held me like you meant it. Again. Another pause. And then the next morning, you avoided eye contact like I was contagious. Adam's throat went dry. I didn't mean. She finally looked at him. But her eyes weren't angry. They weren't sad either. They were calm. Steady. And that terrified him more than yelling ever could. You did mean it, she said quietly. And now you're scared. Again. He didn't argue. Because it was true. Emily, I'm tired, Adam. Her voice didn't shake. That was the worst part. I'm tired of being your exception until it gets inconvenient. He opened his mouth. She held up a hand. No more apologies. He froze. I don't want to hear it was a mistake. Again. She stepped back. And if it was, that's fine. That hit harder than any slap. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even raising her voice. She was just done. She walked away. And this time Adam didn't stop her. Not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't know how. He stood in the hallway long after she disappeared around the corner. The office buzzed quietly around him, phones ringing, papers shuffling. Life moved on. But he didn't. Not for a long time. Because silence hurts. But indifference, that's worse. And Emily? She didn't cry. And that was what shattered him most. Adam tried to move on. He tried. He buried himself in meetings. He approved 10 contracts in 2 days. Worked late. Ate at his desk. Stopped using the break room altogether. The chair across from him stayed empty. So did the air. The silence wasn't peaceful anymore. It echoed. With things she used to say. Little phrases. Quiet mutters. Sarcastic side comments under her breath. It drove him mad. Her absence had a shape. A weight. It followed him from room to room. One night he opened a drawer looking for a pen. Found her sticky note instead. Tuesday, 3 p.m. Don't let them charm you with fake numbers again, smirking face. He stared at it for a full minute. Didn't smile. Didn't tear it up either. Just folded it gently. And kept it in his wallet. Like a fool. Like someone who knew what he lost but didn't know how to fix it. Weeks passed. People stopped asking. Max looked at him differently. Even the HR director, usually too formal to care, gave him a glance that said, "You messed up." And still he stayed quiet. Until Tuesday. A tech launch event. Emily was invited. He didn't know that. But when he walked in with his CFO, he saw her. Across the room. Laughing. Bright. Alive. And not alone. She stood beside a man he didn't recognize. Tall, charming, obviously enjoying her company. They weren't touching. But they didn't need to. The way she looked at the guy, engaged, curious, present, told Adam everything he didn't want to hear. Something in him cracked. Not jealousy. Not pride. Fear. Real deep fear. Because in that moment he realized she was letting go. Of him. Of everything they never got the chance to become. And he was doing nothing to stop it. Later that night he stood by the windows of his office. The city lights blurred beyond the glass. He could still hear her laugh from earlier. But it wasn't his anymore. He whispered, "I can't lose her." And for the first time in a long time, he knew he meant it. It wasn't planned. Adam didn't rehearse it in the mirror or write it in his phone notes app. Just happened. At a bar he wouldn't usually step foot in. Low lighting. Too loud. Packed with people half listening to each other over drinks they didn't really like. But Emily was there. Max had mentioned it offhandedly. And that was enough. Adam showed up in a dark sweater and jeans. Still looked like a CEO, just one trying too hard to blend in. He spotted her near the back. Standing at a high table, drink in hand, laughing with a couple of friends from marketing. She didn't see him at first. He watched her for a moment. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear. The way she leaned in when someone else spoke, really listening. She didn't fake presence. She embodied it. He walked up slowly. She turned, saw him. Surprised. Not angry. Not warm either. Just surprised. "Adam? I need to say something." "Now." He nodded. The music thumped around them. She gestured to the alley door behind the bar. "Not here." Outside the air was cooler. Quieter. Still smelled like beer and cigarettes, but at least it didn't shout. Emily crossed her arms. Waited. Adam took a breath. Let it out. Then said it. 3 words. "I love you." No stutter. No build-up. Just that. Her expression didn't shift. She blinked once. Then slowly, "Okay." He nodded. "I needed you to know." "I already did." That caught him off guard. She added, "But knowing doesn't change everything." I'm not asking you to forget. Good. Because I haven't. She didn't sound bitter. Just honest. Bro. You hurt me, Adam. Again and again. Even when I tried to meet you where you were. I know. And now you show up here, say 3 words and expect, what? I don't expect anything. Silence. Just the hum of a distant car and a neon sign buzzing above. Emily's voice was softer now. I wanted those words. For so long. She looked up at him. But love isn't just something you say. It's something you prove. Adam nodded. I will. No promises. None. She studied him for a moment. Then finally, prove it. Then she walked back inside, leaving him in the alley, hopeful, terrified, and more determined than ever. It started with gasps, low ones, then louder. Then someone dropped a coffee cup. Emily looked up from her screen, eyebrows pulled. Max stood at the edge of her desk. Might want to stand up for this. What are you? Just stand. She turned around and froze. There, in the middle of the open office floor, barefoot, holding a bouquet of sunflowers and tulips like they were the only things keeping him upright, was Adam Carter. Hair tousled. No tie. No shoes. And eyes locked on her. She blinked. Art. Is he? Yup, Max whispered, fully unraveling. In real time. Adam stepped forward. Every desk was watching. Phones half raised. Mouths open. Emily Walker, he said, voice loud but shaking, you ruined my peace. A beat. You wrecked my routines. You ignored every wall I built. Laughter from accounting. He kept going. And I've never been more grateful for anything in my life. He dropped to one knee. I'm not great at this. You know that. More chuckles. But I love you. And I want to be better, because of you. He reached into his coat pocket. Pulled out a small velvet box. Will you marry me? Silence. Emily stared at him. Blinking. Once. Twice. Then she laughed. Big. Full. The kind of laugh that filled every corner of the building. And then, yes. The office exploded. Cheering. Clapping. Someone in HR actually cried. Adam let out the breath he didn't know he was holding. Emily walked toward him. Lifted his face with both hands. You're insane. He grinned. You said yes. She kissed him. Right there, in front of 30 stunned employees and 5 filming phones. When they finally broke apart, she whispered, you better put some shoes on. You've got a company to run, fiancé. The chapel was small. Nothing extravagant. Just glass walls, soft music, and people who mattered. Adam stood at the altar. Hands slightly shaking. Not from fear but from awe. From disbelief that this was real. Max stood beside him as best man, smirking. You look like you might pass out. Adam didn't blink. I might. You want some water? I want her to walk in. Right on cue the music shifted. Everyone turned. And then, Emily, walking slowly down the aisle. Hair in soft waves. No veil. Just confidence. And that calm, radiant light she always carried. Adam forgot how to breathe. She didn't look nervous. She looked certain. Like someone who'd made peace with everything behind her, and was walking into something she chose. Something she believed in. Him. As she reached the front, she mouthed, hi. He swallowed. Hi. The officiant spoke, but Adam barely heard it. All he saw was her. All he felt was her hand in his, steady, warm, familiar now. Then came the vows. Emily went first. Her voice didn't tremble. I never wanted perfect, she said. I just wanted real. And you gave me that. You gave me the awkward silences, the messy mornings, the walls. God, the walls. Laughter. But also the kind of love that stays even when it's scared. She paused. I choose you. On the bad days, the ordinary days, and the days I want to throw a stapler at you. More laughter. Adam smiled through tears. Then his turn. I used to think love was a weakness, he said. That needing someone made me less. He looked at her. But then you showed up. And I started to need you. And instead of falling apart, I became more. He squeezed her hand. You made me better without asking me to be. That's love. The officiant smiled. Do you, Adam Carter, take Emily Walker? Yes. Do you, Emily Walker, take Adam Carter? Yes. The crowd cheered. Someone in the back shouted, finally. They laughed. And then kissed. Not like a movie ending, but like a beginning. Like a quiet, powerful agreement between two people. To choose each other every day. Some people spend years hiding behind silence. But healing begins the moment we let someone in. Not someone perfect, just someone real. If you saw yourself in this story, you're not alone. Tell us in the comments, what part of this story stayed with you the most? Subscribe to SoulTales for more cinematic stories about love, healing, and second chances. Don't forget to hit the bell so you'll never miss when the next chapter drops.